Former Dallas Mayor Tom Leppert, thank you so much, and welcome back to Eye on Politics.
It's good to be with you.
Good to see you. So, as you know, this week the City Council is going to be debating, discussing, and deciding the future of Dallas City Hall. Mayor Eric Johnson told me last week he favors getting rid of it, selling the land, having it redeveloped, and move into another existing building in downtown. And you agree with that?
I certainly do.
Why?
There's really two issues that come together. One is we need to create an exciting, dynamic downtown. It's critical. Nearly half of our tax base comes from downtown Dallas. And unfortunately, as we've seen over the last 6 months or so, downtown Dallas hasn't done as well as it could have or should have. We need to reimagine that, use the area around City Hall and the area that's being opened for the convention center, and really rethink downtown in a way that will attract people to live there, to come visit, to stay there, and to really contribute to not only Dallas, but the entire region. On top of that, we're faced with the issue at City Hall of putting well over $500 million into a building that creates no benefit other than for 1,000 or 2,000 people who work down there. But it doesn't create any new economic base. It doesn't create a tax base. It doesn't attract people. It doesn't do any of the things that we're going to need to build downtown. The combination of those two issues, I think it makes compelling on Wednesday to go ahead and move away from City Hall and create something special.
And the people who oppose that, the people who want to keep Dallas City Hall in place, have said it's paid for. And yes, it's going to cost money to keep it up. The city hasn't done that, obviously. And they say, why get rid of it? What do you say to that?
Well, it is going to cost a lot. Reality is you're going to be building a new building is what it comes down to. And we need to understand the whys of that. This is a 50-year-old building. 50-year-old buildings need new plumbing systems, new electrical systems, et cetera. And the way that it was built, largely concrete, it's going to be very expensive to address those issues. In addition to that, being 50 years old, what the initial estimates didn't include was how do you make it ADA compliant and how do we make it code compliant? Those are city codes. If you and I go in and make adjustments in buildings, we've got to bring the building up to code. The city's going to have to do the exact same thing. When you start adding those numbers together, Jack, you get to 500 to 600 million are the estimates. Then on top of that, you need interiors that's another $100 to $200 million. In addition to that, I can tell you, as someone who led the company that's the largest in the nation in building, I've never seen a project like that comes in below the number. Once you open up those walls, once you start going into those systems, you're going to find a lot of other things that you're going to need to do that are going to push the time out and that are going to add cost. The short answer is it is almost a crime to the taxpayers of this city to put that much money into a building, especially when you've got 9 million square feet of available office buildings in the downtown area of Dallas. That's simply not being faithful to your responsibility as a fiduciary. And from a fiscal standpoint, it's literally irresponsible to put that much money into a building, especially at a time when Dallas and all other municipalities have real challenges from a fiscal standpoint. We need to make sure that we maintain our public safety. That's our police and our fire. Our people need libraries, they need parks. We need to address sanitation systems, all of those sorts of things. And all of those have an enormous benefit to all the citizens of Dallas. This building addresses the people that work there. But as I said, it doesn't create any benefit for the rest of the 1 million+ people that live here in the city of Dallas.
How much less do you think it would be for the city to relocate City Hall to another building? And should the city lease and let somebody else take care of the property, or buy?
Well, I think under the circumstances, the answer is to lease. Again, it's driven by the fact that there's 9 million square feet, so there's lots of opportunities. And as you can imagine, there's lots of folks that will be very happy to talk to the city of Dallas about providing space in their buildings, in their vacant buildings right now. So I think, again, the circumstances really justify leasing, moving forward in that way, because in the end, it's like a company. It needs a lot of offices and space for its people. That can be satisfied in a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be a special building.
And how much money do you think the city could save by doing that, relocating?
Well, first of all, you'll save that initial money that you're going to have to come out of pocket. As we just talked about, that's going to be somewhere in the $500 to $600 million of just addressing the building. Another $100 to $200 million is what's estimated. And all of these estimates are by reputable firms, strong, that understand these sorts of issues. So now we're at $800 million, as I said. I don't think it's going to come in at that number. I think it'll be substantially more than that if we walk down that road. So you'll save that $800 million up front. You will have some expenditures to move all of those sorts of things. But the reality is, if you make the renovations to the buildings, you're going to have to move those people anyway. You're going to have to move them once and then move them back later on. So you're going to save the second part of that. I don't have an exact number for you, but it's got to be a substantial savings. And again,
Hundreds of millions?
Oh, hundreds of millions, easily hundreds of millions of dollars.
So let's talk about the Dallas Stars and the Dallas Mavericks. We know, Plano tonight might vote on the Stars relocating to the Willow Bend Mall site. And the Mavericks are looking at the former Valley View Mall site. So both teams leaving Victory Park. And I had asked, Mayor Johnson, was there any discussion, thought to bringing all these developers? And you know that these teams, what they want hotels and residential and retail around their arenas. Was there any, thought of bringing the best minds, the best developers together for an emergency summit saying, we want to keep these teams downtown, what can we do? And it didn't seem like that based on his answer. Should that have happened?
Well, it's unfortunate if the teams move away from the downtown area. I think that's unfortunate for downtown Dallas. It's unfortunate for Dallas. And I actually think it's unfortunate for the region too. We need to have a strong downtown core. And that's beneficial not only for the citizens of Dallas, but I think for the entire region.
Why?
You look across the world and the great cities, the strong metropolitan areas, they have a core. They have a core of activities that bring people in, that generate tax base. That's really the benefit. Think of that, cities all across the world. Spreading things out, and I understand how we got to this point, that's not going to be in the best interest of this region. Having a strong downtown core, I think, is in the best interest of the region. I think it's unfortunate if the teams move away, but regardless if they do, we still have to address the downtown area for all the reasons you and I just talked about. We need to create a strong downtown for the tax base. We need to create a strong downtown for bringing people in. We're putting $4.5 billion plus into the convention center. That's only going to work if conventions come in and see that there's opportunities, retail, restaurant, hospitality, those sorts of things. So regardless, we're going to have to rethink and make downtown strong under any circumstances.
I remember Boeing was deciding on whether to move to Dallas, relocate its corporate headquarters, or Chicago. And they chose Chicago, obviously, over Dallas. But after that, the arts community came together and they built the arts district back up because Boeing said they didn't feel like the culture was very strong down there, cultural arts, etc. Is Dallas at that moment again when it comes to bringing people downtown?
Dallas has been at that moment a number of times in its history, and it has always made the choice to look forward, not to look back. And that's exactly what we have to do in this situation. Jack, you gave a perfect example of that. We saw a need, we addressed it. We need to do the same thing now. We need to see that there's a need that is in the interest of the taxpayers to take down City Hall, to use that land to reimagine downtown, and to really think of the way we think of downtown in a different way. If we do that, then we're going to be successful. But we've been in this situation before. One of the great things about Dallas is the entrepreneurial spirit, the creativity, the innovation, the business community come together. We do that, we'll be fine. But we have to do it. We have to look to the future, and we can no longer kick decisions down the road.
Last question, and that is, I know there's been discussion lately about changing the way Dallas is governed. And do you believe that it's time for a strong mayor and not relying so much on the city manager?
I think it's time that we've got to reevaluate the governance structure. We need to look and see that it's not as effective as it needs to be, especially when we need to compete all across this nation and all across the world. I'll stop short of giving terms attached to it, but I think, yes, the mayor has to be in a stronger position to basically identify a vision, walk our entire populace there, and have the tools to be able to accomplish that.
All right. Former Mayor Tom Leppert, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.